Stoicism is an ancient philosophy that teaches us how to live well in a chaotic and uncertain world. It offers practical wisdom and guidance for overcoming challenges, mastering emotions, and finding inner peace. Stoicism is not just a set of abstract ideas, but a way of life that can transform our character and actions. In this video, we will explore 9 vital lessons that Stoicism can teach men before it is too late. These lessons are based on the teachings of the great Stoic thinkers such as Zeno, Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius, who faced many hardships and trials in their lives. These lessons are not only relevant for men in the ancient times, but also for men in the modern age who face many pressures and distractions. Here is the first lesson: accept what we cannot control and focus on what we can. One of the core principles of Stoicism is the dichotomy of control, which means that there are things that are within our power and things that are not. We cannot control external events, such as the weather, the economy, the actions of others, or the outcome of our efforts. We can only control our own thoughts, judgments, emotions, and actions. The Stoics advise us to accept what we cannot control with calmness and serenity, and not to waste our energy and time worrying, complaining, or resisting. Instead, we should focus on what we can control, which is our own inner state and our own choices. We should act according to our reason and our values, and do our best in every situation. To practice this lesson, we can use the following techniques when we face a difficult or unpleasant situation. We can ask ourselves, is this within my control or not? If it is not, we can say to ourselves, this is nothing to me. I accept it as it is. I do not let it disturb my peace of mind. If it is within our control, we can say to ourselves, this is an opportunity for me to exercise my virtue and wisdom. I will do what is right and good, regardless of the outcome. We can use the Stoic journaling method, which involves writing down every evening the things that we did well, the things that we did poorly, and the things that we can improve. This can help us reflect on our actions and choices, and learn from our mistakes and successes. We can use the Stoic meditation method, which involves imagining the worst-case scenarios that could happen to us, and how we would cope with them. This can help us prepare ourselves for any adversity and reduce our fear and anxiety. The second lesson is, avoid suffering from imagined troubles and negative thoughts. Another important principle of Stoicism is the distinction between impressions and judgments, which means that there are things that we perceive and things that we think. We perceive external events through our senses, but we think about them through our opinions, beliefs, and expectations. We often add unnecessary and harmful thoughts to our impressions, such as this is terrible, this is unfair, this is impossible, etc. The Stoics warn us that these negative thoughts are the main source of our suffering, not the events themselves. They teach us to examine our thoughts critically and rationally, and to challenge them with logic and evidence. They teach us to replace our negative thoughts with positive or neutral ones, such as this is an opportunity, this is a test, this is indifferent. To practice this lesson, we can use the following techniques. When we feel a negative emotion, such as anger, fear, or sadness, we can ask ourselves, what is the thought that is causing this emotion? We can then analyze the thought and see if it is true, useful, or necessary. If it is not, we can discard it and replace it with a better one. We can use the Stoic affirmations method, which involves repeating positive and empowering statements to ourselves, such as I am strong, I am capable, I am grateful. This can help us boost our confidence and motivation and counteract our negative thoughts. We can use the Stoic visualization method, which involves imagining the best-case scenarios that could happen to us, and how we would feel and act. This can help us create a positive and optimistic mindset and inspire us to pursue our goals. The third lesson is, treat success and failure with equanimity and detachment. Another key principle of Stoicism is the classification of things into good, bad, and indifferent, which means that there are things that are morally valuable, morally harmful, and morally irrelevant. The only things that are truly good are our virtues, such as wisdom, justice, courage, and self-control. The only things that are truly bad are our vices, such as ignorance, injustice, cowardice, and intemperance. Everything else, such as wealth, health, fame, power, pleasure, pain, are indifferent, meaning that they do not affect our moral worth or happiness. The Stoics advise us to treat success and failure with equanimity and detachment, and not to be attached to or disturbed by indifferent things. They teach us to be grateful for what we have, but not to depend on it or crave for more. They teach us to be content with what we need, but not to be greedy or wasteful. They teach us to enjoy what is given, but not to be saddened by what is taken away. To practice this lesson, we can use the following techniques. When we achieve something or receive something good, we can say to ourselves, "This is a gift from the universe. I appreciate it and use it well, but I do not cling to it or identify with it. It does not make me better or happier than anyone else. It can be gone at any moment." When we lose something or face something bad, we can say to ourselves, "This is a test from the universe. I accept it and learn from it, but I do not lament it or resent it. It does not make me worse or unhappier than anyone else. It can be changed at any moment." We can use the Stoic gratitude method, which involves writing down every morning 3 things that we are grateful for, and every night 3 things that we did well. This can help us cultivate a positive and thankful attitude and recognize our achievements and progress. We can use the Stoic indifference method, which involves reminding ourselves every day that the things that we desire or fear are indifferent, and that the only thing that matters is our virtue. This can help us reduce our attachment and aversion and focus on our character and actions. Here is the 4th lesson. Do one thing every day that improves ourselves and our situation. The Stoics believed that we should always strive to improve ourselves and our situation by using our reason, will, and action. They taught us to be disciplined, diligent, and proactive, and not to be lazy, complacent, or reactive. They taught us to seek excellence, not perfection, and to measure our progress by our own standards, not by others. To practice this lesson, we can use the following techniques. We can set a daily goal that is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, and work towards it with focus and determination. We can choose a goal that aligns with our values and virtues, and that challenges us to grow and learn. We can review our day every evening and reflect on what we did well, what we did poorly, and what we can improve. We can celebrate our achievements, acknowledge our mistakes, and plan our actions for the next day. We can use the Stoic exercise method, which involves doing something that is physically or mentally demanding, such as running, lifting, reading, writing, etc. This can help us strengthen our body and mind and increase our endurance and resilience. The 5th lesson is, ask ourselves if what we are doing is necessary and beneficial. The Stoics taught us to be mindful of our actions and choices, and to avoid wasting our time and energy on trivial or harmful things. They taught us to question our motives and intentions, and to align them with our values and virtues. They taught us to simplify our lives and focus on the essential and the beneficial. To practice this lesson, we can use the following techniques. We can use the Stoic self-examination method, which involves asking ourselves before every choice, is this necessary? Is this beneficial? Is this virtuous? We can then evaluate our choice based on these criteria and choose the best option available. We can use the Stoic minimalism method, which involves reducing our possessions and desires to the bare minimum and living with only what we need and value. This can help us free ourselves from the burden of excess and the attachment to material things. We can use the Stoic priority method, which involves ranking our tasks and goals according to their importance and urgency, and tackling them in order. This can help us manage our time and energy more efficiently and effectively. Here is the sixth lesson: love our fate and embrace whatever happens to us. The Stoics believed that everything happens for a reason, and that the universe is governed by a rational and providential order. They taught us to accept and embrace our fate, whatever it may be, and to see it as a part of a larger plan. They taught us to trust that everything that happens is for the best, even if we don't understand it or like it. To practice this lesson, we can use the following techniques. We can use the Stoic affirmation method, which involves repeating to ourselves, amaphoti, or love of fate. This can help us cultivate a positive and optimistic attitude, and to welcome whatever comes our way. We can use the Stoic gratitude method, which involves writing down every morning 3 things that we are grateful for, and every night 3 things that we did well. This can help us cultivate a positive and thankful attitude and recognize our achievements and progress. We can use the Stoic perspective method, which involves zooming out and looking at our situation from a cosmic point of view and realizing how small and insignificant our problems are in the grand scheme of things. This can help us to reduce our stress, anxiety, and anger, and to focus on what we can control and improve in ourselves. Here is the 7th lesson: turn obstacles into opportunities and challenges into growth. One of the most famous Stoic maxims is the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. This was written by Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and philosopher, in his personal journal, known as the Meditations. He was inspired by the earlier Stoic Epictetus, who said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." These quotes capture the essence of the Stoic attitude towards obstacles and challenges. Instead of seeing them as misfortunes, curses, or enemies, Stoics see them as opportunities, blessings, or teachers. They believe that every difficulty we face can be turned into a source of growth, learning, and wisdom. As Seneca, another prominent Stoic, wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." But how can we adopt this mindset and turn obstacles into opportunities and challenges into growth? Here are some practical steps that we can follow based on the Stoic teachings. Identify what is in your control and what is not. The first step is to distinguish between the things that depend on us and the things that do not. According to Epictetus, the only things that are in our control are our judgments, opinions, desires, aversions, and actions. Everything else, such as our health, wealth, reputation, fame, and others' opinions, are not in our control. We should focus our attention and energy on the former, and let go of the latter. This will help us avoid unnecessary stress, anxiety, and frustration, and allow us to act more effectively and rationally. Reframe the situation positively. The second step is to change the way we perceive and interpret the situation. Instead of complaining, blaming, or lamenting, we should look for the positive aspects and benefits of the situation. We should ask ourselves, what can I learn from this? How can I use this to improve myself? How can I turn this into an advantage? For example, if we lose our job, we can see it as an opportunity to explore new career paths, develop new skills, or start our own business. If we face criticism, we can see it as an opportunity to improve our work, learn from our mistakes, or strengthen our character. Take action with courage and wisdom. The third step is to act according to our values and goals. With courage and wisdom, we should not let fear, doubt, or hesitation stop us from doing what is right and good. We should also not act impulsively, recklessly, or emotionally, but rather with reason, prudence, and moderation. We should weigh the pros and cons, consider the alternatives, and choose the best course of action. We should also be prepared for the possible outcomes, and accept them with equanimity and gratitude. Here is the 8th lesson: learn from wisdom and experience of the people from the past. Stoics believe that human nature is rational and social, and that we can improve ourselves by following the examples of wise and virtuous people who lived before us. These people can be historical figures, such as Socrates, Seneca, or Marcus Aurelius, or they can be our own ancestors, mentors, or role models. By learning from their wisdom and experience, we can avoid making the same mistakes they did, and we can emulate their virtues, such as courage, justice, temperance, and wisdom. A practical way to learn from the past is to read the writings of the Stoics and other philosophers, and to reflect on how their teachings can apply to our own situations. We can also ask ourselves what they would do or say in our circumstances and try to act accordingly. For example, if we face a difficult decision, we can ask ourselves what Marcus Aurelius would do and follow his advice. Do what nature demands. Get a move on, if you have it in you. And don't worry whether anyone will give you credit for it. And don't go expecting Plato's Republic. Be satisfied with even the smallest progress, and treat the outcome of it all as unimportant. To practice this lesson, we can use the following techniques: read the writings of the Stoics and other philosophers, and reflect on how their teachings can apply to our own situations. We can use books, websites, podcasts, or other sources to learn from the past. For example, we can read Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, Letters from a Stoic by Seneca, or Discourses by Epictetus. Ask ourselves what the wise and virtuous people from the past would do or say in our circumstances, and try to act accordingly. We can use a journal, a notebook, or a digital device to write down our thoughts and questions, and compare them with the answers of the Stoics or other sages. For example, we can ask ourselves what Socrates would do, and follow his advice. The unexamined life is not worth living. 9th lesson is, be strict with ourselves and tolerant with others. Stoics believe that we are responsible for our own actions and reactions, but not for those of others. We can only control ourselves, not external circumstances or other people. Therefore, we should focus on improving ourselves and not on judging or blaming others. We should be strict with ourselves, meaning that we should hold ourselves to high standards of morality and rationality, and that we should correct our own faults and vices. We should also be tolerant with others, meaning that we should accept them as they are, and not expect them to be perfect or to share our views. We should also be compassionate and forgiving, and not let anger or resentment cloud our judgment. A practical way to be strict with ourselves and tolerant with others is to practice self-examination and self-improvement, and to practice empathy and kindness. We can examine our own thoughts and actions and see if they are in accordance with reason and virtue. We can also challenge our own beliefs and opinions and see if they are based on evidence and logic. We can also practice empathy and kindness by trying to understand the perspectives and feelings of others, and by doing good deeds for them without expecting anything in return. For example, if someone insults us, we can remind ourselves that their words do not harm us, and that they may be acting out of ignorance or pain. We can also respond with calmness and generosity, and not with anger or revenge. As Epictetus said, when someone criticizes you, or hates you, or people voice similar criticisms, go to their souls, penetrate inside, and see what sort of people they are. You will realize that there is no need to be racked with anxiety that they should hold any particular opinion about you. To practice this lesson, we can use the following techniques: practice self-examination and self-improvement, and challenge our own beliefs and opinions. We can use a journal, a notebook, or a digital device to write down our thoughts and actions, and see if they are in accordance with reason and virtue. We can also use logic, evidence, and feedback to test our assumptions and correct our errors. For example, we can use the Socratic method to question our own arguments and expose our own ignorance. Practice empathy and kindness, and respond with calmness and generosity. We can use meditation, mindfulness, or other techniques to cultivate awareness and compassion for ourselves and others. We can also use words, deeds, or gifts to express our gratitude and goodwill for others without expecting anything in return. For instance, we can use the golden rule to treat others as we would like to be treated. These are some of the lessons that Stoicism can teach men, and that can help them live a better and happier life. Of course, these lessons are not exclusive to men, and can be applied by anyone who wants to follow the Stoic way of life. The important thing is to not learn them too late in life, but to start practicing them as soon as possible. As Seneca said, it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it.